check my little cheat sheet here. Here we go. This is my second home away from home. I'm going up to we're not going up to it, but the team is from Columbia, South Carolina. They're going to be going shoo-wee, playing Arkansas. Arkansas coming off of that big game with Cincinnati last week, right? I mean, Arkansas, Pittman. These two coaches here, I really like them a lot. And Beamer and Pittman, these are two guys that are kind of they're not Saban or Kirby level yet, but they're pretty darn close. I mean, Pittman is, because they're cut from the same cloth, basically, more or less. And Beamer, his dad, Frank Beamer, 30-plus years up at Vatech. So he's got some, blue blood in him, too. So this is going to be a real good look here, this game. I was trying to figure on, with that big win, like we said last week, both of those teams, it was a statement win for both, whoever come out of the game with Arkansas and Cincinnati, saying that they belonged, and they lost a ton on their defensive side. But you know what? And I was really surprised. There's a lot of points scored in that game with those great defenses. But Arkansas probably a little more balance is what got them there. And KJ Jefferson was definitely the best kid on the field. But now looking across the other side, you got Spencer Rattler, who was a Heisman candidate in Oklahoma. That was probably the biggest portal pickup, I think. In the whole scheme of things, South Carolina, and they got him. He committed pretty early on that too, so that was a shock. So, but he didn't have such a great game. But they played Georgia State. They won 35-14. Georgia State is a pretty good football team. Very underrated football team. They got solid running game, a great quarterback. And 35-14. That's a pretty decent win for South Carolina. On the surface, it doesn't look like it, but it was Georgia State's pretty good football teams in their first game out. not a bad opponent. They could have played a lesser, but they played them and they did pretty good here. So, and then Ben Bryant, picking up, Ben Bryant, they with Cincinnati, he did a pretty decent job overall. But I think this game here is going to go this way. I think we're going to see both of these teams are pretty decent defensively. I think now that Arkansas has got that one win out of the way, that they were prepping for. Next up is, like I say, the Gamecocks, which they're coming to Fayetteville. I think both teams are going to be up to the task. So I think it's going to be you're going to see both quarterbacks on display here in key situations, but not big game. Like, they're not going to run up and down the field. It's going to be about, control type football. So you'll see a lot of options out of both of these kids here. Nobody's going to make the big mistake. So I think you're going to see a more tighter type game. And I think we see a game that kind of goes under the total here. I think we see like a 24-21 or a 20, maybe like I don't even want to say a 27-20 type game. I think you'll see maybe like a 3 or 4 point game. But first I looked at the under and I said, you know what? When I'm looking at the numbers 9, I think it's a little bit overvalued for Arkansas. I think South Carolina could keep it within one score, so I'm going to take the Gamecocks here. I think it's a little overvalued. I think it's a touchdown or less. I think Arkansas probably still wins the game, but I think South Carolina is going to keep it under a touchdown. So I think 9 points is too many, so I'm going to take Carolina here.
I absolutely like that. I think to add to that, Cincinnati kind of put a blueprint together a little bit about containing Jefferson, because if you watched it closely at the beginning of the game, he was able to get outside the pocket, move up the field, and as the game progressed, they kind of pocketed him in, made him step to the middle and do some things that he was uncomfortable with. So I think that's a very good look. South Carolina, like you said, Rattler, he's a quality quarterback. He could throw the ball. I'm not 1,000% convinced about Jefferson. It was one of the they was comparing him to I can't think of his name. The guy that played at the Carolina Panthers.
Cam Newton.
They were comparing him to Cam Newton, especially when he was. So I mean, there's no longevity at a quarterback that's just so athletic that he can run out to the side of the pocket and wait till people mix around, find an open receiver, and go downfield. Because when you make it to the big leagues, that's not something you could just do all day.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a false look at an athlete. Now Jefferson, he is big and strong, no doubt about it. But his quarterbacking is not. high quality to where he can't be bottled up or rattled out. So I like that look 100%. Let me